y'all, it's time for another episode of Rolling Dice and Taking Names. Today, Tony and Marty will list the 5 games they would buy if they had to restart their board game collection. And believe it or not, Marty has a friend besides Tony. Keegan will join Marty for a review of Arkham Horror Fortune Folly, and Marty's dad, my wonderful father-in-law, will review Undaunted Stalingrad.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Rolling Dice and Taking Names, episode 293. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. My name is Marty.
I'm Tony.
Unfortunately, I can't think of the artist who does that song.
Oh, Clay. Was it Clay? God, I just looked it up. Hold on. I'll get my phone. It's still in my Google search. I can tell you that in a second because, it's right there in my Google search. It says Johnny Nash. Johnny Nash.
Okay. Mm-hmm. From, the 60s, 70s. I don't know. Very popular song.
From 1972.
Well, there you go. I can see clearly now, which I assume has to do with the fog of war that I experienced while playing Undaunted Stalingrad.
Well, multiple things, actually. It also includes one of the topics we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
See how that ties in? Everything ties in, man.
Everything ties in now?
Everything ties in. We can make that happen. So, because, you've got the fog of war going on here. You've got stuff that we're going to be talking about, or you're going to be talking about from Arkham Horror, and the horrors that may be hidden and in the shadows.
Sure.
And then our topic about what board games would you buy? I thought it was clever.
It is clever. It is clever. And I will say, just right off the bat, this is going to be an unusual episode, y'all, because Tony's been extremely busy with a wedding that is now complete. I'll ask you about it in just a second, see how it went. But we have not had a chance to get together and play a lot of games. So 2 of the reviews are going to be with guests. The Undaunted Stalingrad review will actually be with my dad, who I played the entire campaign with. And we're going to do a quick review of the Arkham Horror new Fortune and Folly scenario. And my buddy from work who plays the game with me joined in so he could give his thoughts on the game. Now, you are here for, I think, a pretty exciting topic in that if we had to start our board game collection from scratch, what are the first 5 games that we would buy?
Mm-hmm.
And I pitched this a couple weeks ago, and I really struggled. But I think I've narrowed it down to 5, but these 5 could change tomorrow.
It took me 5 minutes.
Okay, well then you're easy.
Well, but see, I set parameters around it. I bet you didn't do what I did when it came to parameters.
Well, there are some parameters. Okay, well, when we get to
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about
what but anyway, that's what's coming up, y'all. So you're going to hear a lot of different voices on the show, and we've also got a review of Motor City, a 5-minute initiative, and we're going to be giving away a copy, Tony. And how do we give away copies of games on this show?
We used to have to fill out a sorry form that I would have to create on Google, and then we'd have to research it. We'd close it out, and we'd forget to close it out. But now it's a real simple process. You join our Discord server. Mm-hmm. Marty posts a thing, says, here's a contest, thumbs up, and you're entered. I don't think it could get any harder than that or easier.
I don't think it can get any easier. So, for example, we just gave away Watergate. And here's the thing. I didn't promote this. Yes. I didn't promote this. We had it mentioned in our last episode.
But I didn't win.
Well, did you enter?
I'm not going to say I did.
Anyway, so here's the thing. I didn't promote it on social media or anywhere. Basically, it was in our Discord channel. And if you listen to the episode, you had a chance to win. And that's just how it's going to be. I would just say, if you join our Discord channel, we'll be giving away stuff, and make sure to listen. And this time around, we're going to be giving away the new Roll and Write Motor City. And did you see their new Roll and Write just started on Kickstarter today, French Quarter?
I did. And I've always said pinchback, riddle, long Roll and Write is an instant back for me. But I'm beginning to question it because I've got so many. Okay. It's not that it's not good or I don't think it would be good because I've always enjoyed them. It's just, how many do I really need?
I'm interested in the theme because it's French Quarter, which is, for those who may not know, that's New Orleans. It's a section of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, so how does it differ from Three Sisters or Motor City, which I really enjoyed, or Fleet, the dice game? So, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I need to go look at it, read a little bit about it, and just decide, okay, is it different enough from the other 25 Roll and Writes that I have?
Right.
And I don't think that's an exaggeration either.
You got a lot. Oh, and by the way, I have another one that was sent to us from Stronghold. I'll be giving you to pretty soon.
Okay, good.
Because I know you and Donna love your rolling rights, and now that your wedding is over, you'll have a chance to sit and play some more rolling rights because you ain't got to worry about that stress anymore. So how did it go?
Oh, well, it wasn't Donna and I's wedding. It was our daughter, but I just want to be clear on that.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, it rained during the event. It was so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then all of a sudden, for some odd reason, some stupid storm decided to roll in. But, you know, rain on a wedding during a wedding is good luck.
Correct.
And it actually let up enough Sunday night to where it was very refreshing, if it can be. You know, it was that light mist without being irritating. I'll admit her dress got a little messy as she walked across because it was outdoor and there was no tent.
Oh, no.
And, I mean, we had the option to move it inside. So game day decision had to be made by my daughter. She says, do you want it inside or outside so that they could start setting up? And she's looking at me and I go, baby, go outside. This is what you want. Do it outside. If it's pouring, we can quickly move everything inside where people can stand and not go sit in chairs, you know?
Sure.
And so it went fabulous. The reception went fabulous. It was family and some of her closest friends. So it was a small wedding and real happy. Donna, who did the wedding cake, it didn't fall. It was amazing in the taste. And then she did all the desserts. And I still don't understand why, but it's not my job. It was my job to just lug stuff everywhere.
Okay.
So that's, and it's over. It's done. They're off. They're gone. And I've got the dogs for another week. So you should hear some more chains rattling around here. But big news. If you want to share, you told me something recently.
I've not shared on here.
No.
Oh, I guess not. So, yeah.
You just barely shared with me. And yet, did I share on here? I just heard last week. I had to drag it out of you.
Speaking of weddings, my oldest son, Adam, is going to be getting married in September. So I'll be going through some of the same stuff. This will be down in Savannah. Also a little small thing that, but being, the groom's parents, I feel like I'm not going to really do a lot. So that's my plan.
Write a big check and say, y'all go handle it. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, no. Marty's not writing a big check of anything.
Oh, you haven't seen rehearsal dinners.
Oh, I can still control that. Chick-fil-A nugget trays. Because they're from Montana, so they don't know anything about Chick-fil-A. So this will be a big thing for them.
No, I know you. I know what's going to happen down there in Savannah, and I would expect nothing less from you. As I would expect y'all stopping in Florence at Buc-ee's.
Oh my gosh, yes. Everybody gets a brisket sandwich from Buc-ee's. Vanessa! Can't hear me. I was going to pitch that to her, see what she thought.
I'm telling you, I already thought this out for you because I've had to, unfortunately, go through all this thought process. But yeah, you and Buc-ee's, oh man, drive down with a carload of Buc-ee's, get one or two for yourself for the drive. Woo!
That sounds
good
like
eats.
A winner. Of course, Buc-ee's sandwiches are about $10 a piece, so it's not too cheap still.
Yeah, we'll talk offline on just what cheap is nowadays. And what I will say one thing, small weddings are the bomb.
Tony had a great idea, Vanessa. Buc-ee's brisket sandwiches for a rehearsal dinner. She said, perfect. That's it. We have it. And homemade ice cream. She'll take her ice cream maker and just be churning all day.
Get peach ice cream going, baby.
I told her it was either that or a Chick-fil-A tray.
She would love a Chick-fil-A catered rehearsal.
See, I told you that Chick-fil-A would be an option.
Like, seriously.
Chick-fil-A and a bunch of Polynesian sauce, baby. We are in.
Levels, beautifully displayed nugget trays. Little chicken minis. Oh my gosh.
We got a winner.
There you go.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Well, I mean, that's fine if it floats. I like that because we did it at Nellie's in Belmont, and the biggest hits where people were sitting there going, what is this? Why are there chickens sitting on waffles?
Why? How dare they?
I know. I was like, have you not? And these people are down in Florida. This was Donna's family. They're going, I've never heard of chicken and waffles. And I'm like, what?
Didn't I have chicken and waffles down in Florida?
I don't know. Obviously not. I guess they've never gone to a real restaurant.
Dang it. Now I want a chicken and waffle.
I know. And I looked at them. I said, okay, have you ever had a chicken sandwich? And they go, yeah. And I said, what's waffles basically? They're basically, squared, breads with little squares in them. Mm-hmm. Folded up, you got a chicken sandwich. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I'm not having to take care of the wedding dinner because they want shrimp and grits. I went, that's all on you, baby. Shrimp and grits, all on y'all.
See, why not do some frog more stew? Oh, man.
Well, here's the thing. Adam is into that stuff. I mean, if he could do like the Louisiana Cajun stuff, like shrimp etouffee, crawfish etouffee, and stuff like that. But I know shrimp and grits is something that's wanted. But you know what? That's in September, so that's happening. So they're coming in town in June, and Vanessa's having a meet the bride thing or something. It's while I'm working, so I won't be here. So that's the way you do it.
That is how you do it. And I will say two last things, and then we're going to close it out for the wedding. Is one, I did not mess up the father of the bride speech, and Chat GTP failed miserably at writing it for me. So I had to do it myself. Kind of disappointed me. And the final thing is we made Donna cry during father and daughter dance because she wasn't expecting the song. So
what song was it?
It was I Loved Her First.
I Loved Her First. I don't know that one.
It's a country song, and
that's why I don't know it. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So, but let's get on to more contests, or let's just say battles. And that is the strike tournament. I am flabbergasted. Thank everyone who has already bought their tickets to this. Marty texted me and said, hey, we've sold, almost all the tickets. And I said, well, crap, that means we actually got to do it. And he, of course, rolled his eyes at me. But no, seriously, thank you all. I did not expect the response that we got on that as soon as we did.
Yeah, so we've only got 14 tickets left, y'all. As of this recording, we only have 14 tickets left. Now, I don't know if we can squeeze up more space. If we sell these out, we'll see what we can do, but we still got 14 left. So if you're interested, and these went fast. We went from the 75 to 14 in less than a week. So thank y'all so much. A lot of people are saying they're attending for the first time. To me, Tony, this also means that Gen Con sounds like it's going to be back to kind of normal this year. Last year's only had 50,000 attend. I think it's going to be going up because last year we didn't sell this many tickets overall the whole time we sold it. We've already sold more we did last year in 1 week. So I just think a lot more people will be coming this year.
It's good for them, bad for me. I enjoyed this crowds last year. It was just so nice to be able to move.
Yeah. No, I agree. Unfortunately, there won't be any more space, but there'll just be more people. And unfortunately, one of our good friends of the show, Jerry Reese, will not be able to attend. But I know. But he reached out and said, you know what? Since I can't attend, I personally would like to buy 2 tickets and give them away to somebody. So we're going to be giving 2 tickets away to the strike tournament. And again, this is going to be on our Discord channel. If you're going to be going and you're going to be there and you haven't bought your tickets yet, or you're interested in going, it's going to be again Thursday night at the Old Spaghetti Factory, 7 p.m. for an hour and a half, strike giveaways. This will include food. So he's buying, it's a free meal if you win. It's 2 free meals if you win. You can't beat that.
No, you can't. And what time did you say? 7, right?
7 p.m. on Thursday night.
Okay.
Yes.
For some odd reason, I thought I heard 7:30. I just wanted to validate 7 p.m. on Thursday night. Well, next time I'm up in old Jerry's neck of the woods, I may take him out for a spaghetti dinner.
You should, because that is super, super nice. Man, we've got so many people on our Discord channel. Just a lot of people are like finding stuff just to give away. They're sponsoring their own giveaways. It's like, here's some books I want to give away. It's like TR Knight gave away 2 older games and stuff. So it's really cool what's going on out there. So again, join our Discord channel. You can find it on our website at rolldicetechnames.com. So not a lot of tickets left. Go buy them if you want. Speaking of not a lot of things left, good thing I looked to see how much web space we had left on our website for storing our episodes, because we were down to only like having enough space for 2 or 3 episodes left. And we had to buy some additional web storage, Tony, to support the show.
That was my exit strategy. There it is. And if you continue to have all these guests to do reviews, I don't see where I'm needed anymore. So we're out of web space, so I don't have to worry about the shows being posted. You can't post them anymore because unless you start. I thought about telling you just delete the old crap. I mean, 1 through 250. Just delete 1 through 250 and we would be good. But I guess that wouldn't be in case someone wants to discover the really bad RDTN.
Exactly. So what we did is we've increased our space. So far we have about 20 gig of space for all the episodes we've had over the past 10 years. We added another 20 gig, which means, Tony, we have 10 years left. There you go. 10 years of 300 episodes before we run out of space.
Oh my God, that was wasting money.
So here's the thing. I bring this up because while you're out there at the Strike Tournament at, I didn't mention where you get the tickets from. Go to buymeamoonpie.com or it's buymeacoffee.com/RDTN. It's over on our website if you want a link. And you'll find the tickets there. Because we've had a 50% increase basically in the cost of our server to maintain this show, if you want to tip a couple moon pies while you're there, that would be great. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for all those that have donated in the past and continue to donate with a recurring donation. It means a lot. And now that we've had to increase our space, our expenses have gone up a little bit, but we'll eat it. But it'd be nice to maybe offset that just a little bit. So any support you'd have, you give us, we would greatly appreciate it.
Or if you don't, then that is once again, exit strategy. I'm liking it either way, but oh man, we've paid for this already. I guess I'm committed now.
10 years, baby.
Oh man.
That's hilarious. That's
hilarious. Yeah, it is. I'm laughing.
All right, there you go. All right, so that's all that stuff out of the way. And thank you all for hanging around for 10 years and having us. All right, we're going to hit 300 episodes this summer. I think we can time it with a couple extra vidcast episodes where our 300th will be at Gen Con, and that would be pretty freaking cool.
Okay. But when we record at Gen Con, would you want to do 300? Is that what you're saying? Where we'd stay up till... Yeah, quality episodes for 300 where we're half asleep and dead to the world and we're recording. Yes, that's smart planning.
Yeah, but what we could do is we could take the microphones around and talk to people for the 300 thing. And
y'all are who? You've been around for 300 what?
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I just don't be surprised by the response you get. That's the way I'm thinking about this happening. Now, I do not understand the next thing in our show notes. Platonics instead of Teutonics?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I had to pay out $5 to Miniature Market.
Oh, you did? Did you screw up Oros?
I did. I said the study of earth plates was Platonics, which is way different than what Teutonics is, which is the study of plates. Because true, the plates of the earth probably don't have an intimate relationship with each other. It probably is a platonic relationship between two plates.
They slide over themselves.
That's true. So
I don't know how more intimate you could get sliding on top of one another.
It makes sense. Plates, platonics. That's what I get for just talking without looking anything up. So yes, I apologize for that. For person that called it, they got a $5 gift card out of it. So there you go.
Talking without looking something up. That's 293 times that we've done something like that. I mean, that's a given.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
I can't believe this. I am actually having to make a correction of a correction. I said Teutonics, and it's tectonics. And the reason why I said Teutonics is because I'm currently playing Nevsky, and one of the sides are the Teutons. So I had that in my brain and said that. That's tectonics. That's it. I'm putting this to bed, never to mention it again.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Now, so during the wedding, I showed the bridesmaids because they were asking me about the show, and they were like, "Hey, have you ever had anybody on famous?" And I showed them the picture, the splash image of you and me standing there with Joe Manganiello.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they go, "Oh my God, how did you? That's unreal." And I said, "What? Is there someone you want to have on that's special?" And they said, if you get, and you're going to help me with his name, Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
Cavill. And I'm like, "Who's that?" And they had to show me a picture, and I go, "Who's that?" And they go, "Superman." I said, "Oh." And then they go, "The Witcher." And I go, "Oh, I'd never seen it." And they're like, well, if you can do that, we would be amazed. And they told me he was a big Warhammer player.
Correct.
Now, do you think that he's getting excited about this Warhammer 10th edition?
Yeah. So for anybody that's really interested in miniature games, I always like to come in and talk about when is a good time to jump in. If you've ever had any interest in Warhammer 40K, the 10th edition was announced and will be coming out in June. And we got a copy of it to check out. It is a beast of a box, but it has 2 armies, the rule books, everything that you need to play. It's a great jumping in point if you're interested in the Tyranids and Space Marines. It's always Space Marines.
Always Space Marines.
Always Space Marines in there. But yeah, there's been a lot of positive buzz about 10th edition, streamlining some stuff, and people tend to like it. So, I mean, it's one of those things where every edition's gotten better. And I do think Henry Cavill will be excited about this because they have shown pictures of him going to the Warhammer offices or Games Workshop offices where they have the big setup with all the miniatures and everything like that. And they showed him around, and he's into painting and everything like that. So yes, it would be extremely cool to have him on. But if we could pull that off, that would be flipping amazing.
Because I didn't know he was into Warhammer. And so when I was talking to him, I said, well, does he play board games? And I'm like, how do you guys know about Warhammer? All because they follow pictures of him. They could care less about it.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's very much a big time geek. He's very much a fan. Supposedly he left The Witcher because he didn't like that they were going in a different direction what the books went. He wanted to stay true to the source material. He's one of those people, I want to hear what fans say. I'm here to make entertainment and please the fans. And it's rare to hear somebody say that nowadays. So he is loved by so many people, and people can't figure out why James Gunn's not going to use him in the new DC universe and bring him back as Superman, but they're going with somebody younger, which really ticked off a lot of people.
Oh, well, not everybody can be happy.
One other thing though, if sci-fi isn't your thing, I know that Tony, you and I used to play Warhammer Underworld, which is the small little miniatures game where you had the cards that you put together, built together a deck, and you play like over a course of several rounds. They've re-releasing the starter set for that. So if you missed that, the Warhammer Underworld starter set is back with the same 2 factions that came in it. So it is in a really, really good. It's more of a card game than it is a miniatures game. Yes, there are miniatures that you're moving around on the board, but everything is done through really, really clever card play. Game plays in 30 minutes, and they keep releasing these updates with new factions and everything. So if you missed getting into that, once again, I'm all about, here's a good jumping in point. Warhammer Underworld starter set is a fantastic jumping in point. If you want to get into something that's, number one, very few miniatures, not a lot to paint, very small playing area, and it's mainly through card play. You don't modify your army, you actually modify your deck when you play.
Yeah. We enjoyed that, just never got a chance to get to the table very much.
Right. You and I had different factions. I mean, you had
I had the Skavens.
Skavens, I couldn't think of it. Yes. And you had a Skaven army, and you can modify the decks and tweak them and everything like that. So you and I being card players, we were really drawn to that because we love the idea of building a deck, but the miniature team itself was set.
I have to see. I think maybe since we weren't getting it, you got games, you want games to be loved. You need them to be loved. And I think I sold off my original. So just because, somebody's got to give it some love. If I'm not,
right.
I mean, you did that video about Star Wars, about Watch It Play not doing the rules for it.
Oh, Star Wars Rebellion. Yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars. And you had the sad song. We could do that for like games not getting love on your shelves.
It's was it Melissa Etheridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did some commercial with her on, I forget what that was. I saw her the other day.
Was it? It was this comedy. It was a funny thing though, right?
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah. I can't remember what it was for.
Something about
they were
bears
doing the
or
song
something
and stuff, but it was funny. Yeah.
Yes. So speaking of being true to your source.
Oh my gosh.
I got my Thunder Road Vendetta. It was delivered and while I was in DC a couple weeks ago, and we have yet to put it on the table because we just have not had time to do it. But I am very excited. I think we'll get it to the table next week for game night, which will be the week that this episode is released. So I'm looking forward to that. But somebody in our Discord channel pointed out something. Now, they just used a name, Not, it doesn't, no, I mean, it could be me, it could be another one, but they said Tony's medium car is on top of the wreck. This is in the rule book.
They said, you mean, this is in the rule book.
This is in the rule. Restoration, who has the rule book, said Tony's medium car is on top of a wreck. The dice are rolled, resulting in a bottom plus front left, whatever that means. Like I said, we haven't played. Tony is happy. If they're referencing me, they are not being true to the source.
So I saw that. Now, number one, I'm used as an example in the book too. You actually used multiple times. I'm only used once, but the name Tony's used multiple times. And
it's not me. Obviously, Tony is happy.
Well, I agree. And so when I pointed that out, Justin came back and said, I'm glad you caught that because it was done on purpose with Tony being happy. Because I said, are you sure you're talking about the same Tony? He said, haha, I'm glad you saw that. So it's so funny that they specifically spell it out. Tony is happy with that.
Oh, yeah. I'm very excited. I've got the original out. I've got, and then the new one. I can't wait. That is what we will do on game night. We will play the original. And then we'll play the new one, which plays, and just that'll give us a compare. There's a bunch of compares probably over on BGG. I haven't been on BGG to look yet. That'll be exciting to see how they differ, so that we will be able to talk about. Because in the original, unless dice are really being rolled really well, that game's over in like 15 minutes.
This one could take up to 90.
Exactly.
That's where I'm kind of concerned, because the beauty of the original is it was wild, it was chaotic, and it was fast, and it resolved. So I hope this doesn't drag. You know what I'm saying? I hope that excitement can be maintained over 60 to 90 minutes.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time we played this? Do you remember when that was?
Was it at Mega Moose?
No, it was actually, Ignacy was here, and we went down to Atlanta and saw him and Steve Avery.
Oh, that's right. It was in a hotel room. Or hotel table,
lobby.
The front lobby. Yeah.
Yeah, and I fell in love with it, and then someone sent me a copy of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is so good.
So I can't wait to try it. It's a huge box. Big old box. So
not mine. I backed the basic core set.
Oh, okay. But how deep is it? It's still pretty deep though, isn't it?
No. The basic core, the basic back was just a standard core set. The bigger one included all the expansions and all that. No, I just said, so this we'll squirrel over to Kickstarters and feelings about Kickstarters recently, or GameFound, or whoever you go with.
Sure. Crowdsourcing.
Crowdsourcing. Exactly. It's one of those things where I'm now looking at it and saying, you know what? I don't need all the extras. Just give me the base. And if I am going to back something, which, by the way, I am shying more and more away from backing stuff on the GameFound and Kickstarter. And the reason why is there are so many good games out there. But that, I think, is a good topic for us to discuss maybe on a vidcast.
No, I agree, because I can't remember the last time I've backed a game, to be honest with you. It's been a while, because I've really gotten to the point I can wait. Sometimes I'll throw $1 towards something so I can join late pledge. So then later on, when it's getting ready to come out, I may jump in and back it at that point, because you had the opportunity if you throw $1 towards something. So I have done that, but it's rare for me to jump in, before the time is up to jump in and back something anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't wait to play it. This is it's exciting. And thank you so much to them for putting our names in the rule book, because we were on them for many years asking if they would do it.
Yes. Thank you so, and appreciate the tongue-in-cheek reference. So Marty and I have been talking about Gametoppers for a while here, and go check out their products yourself. Go to GameToppersLLC.com. We also mentioned about my daughter who got married, and now she's moving into a house. And one of the key things she needs, Marty, is a dining room table.
Oh, does she into games?
Her husband is, because of me, and I'm trying to convince them to head over to Gametoppers LLC to look about getting one of their Watson tables so that they can use one of the Gametoppers dining covers.
Yeah, so this is something that was in his last Kickstarter. This is really cool, because a lot of people who have a gaming table want it to have a dual purpose. So he came out with this concept of there's 4 MDF interlocking panels. They have nice beveled edges and everything like that. It's a powder coat finish. Basically, you just lay it on top of the existing table, and you got like a dining room table kind of ready to go. But then if you're in the middle of playing a game, you could just cover it up, do your business and then remove it later on. You should get that for yours, so you haven't got to. You can leave it up outside on your deck.
That's not going to happen with Donna. So I'm just trying to figure out a way that I can get her to get this, my daughter, so that I can say, well, sweetie, this way when we're down there, I can play games with them, and this gives me another reason. And I'm like, this would be a perfect housewarming gift. I know what I'm looking at here. I mean, because their old dining room table is actually a table from his college when they were selling off the library furniture.
Oh.
You remember those tables?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the uncomfortable chairs. So, he could order a Game Topper, get the Game Topper leg kit, which consists of, the 4 powder coated steel corner brackets and hardware, the 28-inch legs, and then the center support for the Watson. So basically, for the money that they may go into one of the furniture stores, they go here, get them a Game Topper, have friends over, and they're like, well, do you like playing board games? Yeah. Boom, throw off the table covers, and there's a game table right there. Have dinner, clear the dishes. Boom, you're playing a game. That is what I call quick turnaround. And he's in the military. He would understand that. The logistics of this is amazing.
And here's the thing is, I think those were two things that the Game Topper really need. One, the leg kit to basically turn a Game Topper into a table if you didn't have a surface to put it on, and the fact that you can cover it with something. So I think those are really two cool accessories. And we still have our code that's going to go on for one more month. This will be the last month. You can get 15% off using RDTN15. That'll give you 15% off all accessories and mats. So if you have either a Watson or Holmes and you want to put one of these Game Topper dining covers on it, well, you can go over there, get 15% off, and turn your game table into a dinner table like your daughter and son-in-law should do. Now, several months ago when we did our big game awards, the Squirrely Awards, I had mentioned that my game of the year was Undaunted Stalingrad. And people might have been confused because we had not officially reviewed the game. That's because I was actually in the process of playing it, but I knew I loved it enough to make my number one game. However, today, I'm going to finally get around to reviewing this game. It's a little bit special because it's not Tony that I played with. It's actually my dad, who has reluctantly decided to sit in here and review the game with me because he's like, who's going to be listening to this? I got to know what is going on. I said, don't worry. I'll get you through this. So thank you for sitting down and doing this. My dad's name is Sherrill Connell, which is a unique name spelled Sherrill.
Yeah.
Where does it even come from? I don't even know.
I was told that my next door neighbor, a man, it was in the Air Force, and some members of my family, especially my grandmother, liked that name. And so somehow I ended up with that name, and I have to spell it a lot when I'm talking.
Because I don't think I've ever heard anybody else name that.
I don't know that I've heard the first name, Cheryl. I have heard last name.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about the first name. Anyway, all right. So thank you for sitting down and doing this. So let me just set the stage here for everyone. You would not call yourself like a big time gamer. The only time you ever play games is when on holidays.
That's true.
I'll be like, okay, anybody want to play a game? It's like, oh, fine. What is this one? How hard is it to learn? How long does it take?
How long is it going to be? How attentive do I have to be to learn the rules and all of that kind of thing? Yes.
Basically, it's the same thing Vanessa says whenever.
Well, you'll have to remember in my generation, we played Monopoly, we played checkers.
Sure.
We played card games. And, bingo. And, that was about the extent of it. So I'm not a big...
In our house, we grew up playing some of the same stuff.
Right.
I think we threw in stuff like Uno.
Yeah, we finally started adding a few things to it.
Rook. Trivial Pursuit. I love
Trivial Pursuit.
Do you remember the game called Chopper Strike that we played?
I do.
It was a board that had tanks on it. And then you had like this transparent plastic table that you'd put together with 4 legs, put it over the board, and then the helicopters were on top. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
I did too. There was another one similar. Was it the ships that you had to sink? Or were we
the
talking
battleship.
about the battleship? That was the name of the game, I believe.
Battleship. Yeah. But I just remember Chopper Strike, and I've actually been trying to get a company to pick up the license of that and re-release it.
Oh, really?
And make it look, because I just think it'd be a cool war game. Because I thought you might be interested in this. Well, number one, for 2 reasons. it's a war game, but also because you're a pilot. And there's a new version of this game coming out called Battle of Britain, which is based on aerial combat in World War II.
Yeah, you were saying something to me about that. Yeah.
I actually have that now, and it's perfect timing.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
just got it. So my goal was to kind of get you used to what a deck building game is, and so that when this came out, you were kind of ready to go.
Is that what this one was called? A deck building?
See, that's where we are, y'all. See, if I was to tell the audience, it's like, here, this is a deck building game. They've played enough games to know, oh, deck building game. That means I start with a set deck, and I'm going to add cards to it over time and use those cards.
Yeah, see, I've never done that one.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Your first foray into something that's it's called Undaunted, but it was probably a little daunting for you.
It was. In fact, I wonder where it got the name. It's Undaunted. Yeah, but,
We sat down, I taught you the rules, and it took you a while to grasp.
and you kept teaching me the rules.
So, y'all, this is a legacy game that's played over the course of 15 scenarios, about 15 scenarios. It actually could be shorter. I know that when we first started, the first game, the first scenario is kind of like an intro game. And we probably played that like 3 times before you finally felt comfortable enough to move on to scenario 2.
Only 3?
I think we started at the end of last year, end of 2022, right before around Christmas.
Oh, I was thinking it was a little later than that, was it not?
I think we maybe played a game in December of 2022.
Yeah.
But we've been playing about one scenario a week.
We missed a few, but
Yes,
yeah,
which is
basically.
why it's taken us many weeks to play. I would come over there on Sunday afternoon. You'd have everything set up. Mom would make some tea, maybe have a few snacks.
Right.
We'd sit down and play. What is Undaunted? If people never played the game, this is a World War II themed game where it emulates kind of like a miniature style battle game where you have cardboard tokens on a map that's pre-constructed every scenario. Based on whatever scenario you're doing. And you play cards in order to activate units. You have like scouts and machine gunners and riflemen. You have some tanks that you can manipulate. You move them around the board. And there's usually objectives that you're trying to meet in order to win the game. In this special version of Undaunted Stalingrad, this is a campaign style game, which is kind of unique because as we played the game, your units would change over time, meaning at the very end, if any of my units that you took out, or any of the units I took out of yours, they would be injured, removed from the game permanently, and replaced with a weaker unit.
Right.
Which was really kind of thematic. The idea was like, okay, this person was injured, they've been sent home or whatever, and we have a reserve unit coming in. Not as good as
With
this.
less experience.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Less
And how they did that was basically the abilities on the card weren't as good. Maybe instead of rolling 3 dice, you only rolled 2 dice or something like that. Or some of the abilities were just gone.
There would be a penalty in the
Exactly.
in the new version.
So over the course of the game, you would lose people to injury, but you would also get to upgrade people. So people who made it through, you would go at the end of the campaign, you would randomly draw cards from your deck. And when you drew one that was upgradable, you got to go to a special deck and put in a special version of it that gave you better abilities of that original card.
That's correct.
So that was cool.
It was. It takes a while to learn the actions or to get them really in your head, the actions that you're given on the card for each particular player and, or item on the board. And I could probably play it another whole term to get comfortable with it.
I printed out a sheet, a little cheat sheet.
You did.
And you said, all right, before you came over, I read the cheat sheet again, try to prep for it. Because there are a lot of little terms, move, attack, control, recon.
And the ones you don't use very often, even if let's say today I learned what that action is, for an example. If I don't use it for the next 3 or 4 or 5 games,
like Inspire.
Inspire.
It's like, what was that one again?
Yeah,
it's like,
Inspire was one that tripped me up every time.
By the way, Inspire is if you've played a card that turn from a particular squad and you have like a squad leader that can inspire that unit, they basically get to act again. Right. That's kind of what that does. So I'm trying. This thing is that for people listening who may have never played Undaunted, I don't want to teach all the rules and everything, but kind of explain what it is. But what was so special about this game opposed to the other games is that whole idea of a campaign where the board changed over time, your units changed over time, and it was kind of like what they call it. You probably hadn't heard this term. It's a term called like a legacy style game. It was a very popular term that came up with games many years ago. And it's kind of stuck to where it's like, it's a legacy. Whatever happens here carries out through the entire campaign. You lose this unit, they're gone for the rest of the campaign. And you blow up this building, that building is gone from the map.
And I guess as it would be in a real war, the objectives change with each battle, obviously, depending on what the outcome was of the last one. The objective is not the same in every scenario that you play. So
that's what makes this game so good, because at the end, it would say, okay, who won the game? And based on who won, it would branch to a different storyline. So if the Germans won, by the way, the whole theme of this is the Germans are going into Stalingrad and trying to take over Stalingrad from the Russians. So you played as the Russians, I played as the Germans. So at the end of the scenario, if Russia won, I'd write that on my sheet, and it would say, okay, because Russia won, you're going to go to this next briefing over here in your book. You're going to read this briefing, and you're going to do this particular map. But if I had won, it would have been something totally different. So it was a branching storyline. Now, one thing the designer, David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin, tried to do is they tried to balance it. And actually, you and I saw this.
Yeah, I saw it.
We were back and forth, Russians, Germans,
Exactly.
Russians, Germans, renting, because they would try to balance it. It was like, well, if Germans win too much, let's throw the Russians in with some tanks or give them something.
We went through, a half a dozen games where I would win one, you'd win the next one, I would win the next one, and it went like that for several games.
I think the first time somebody had a back-to-back win was a game around game 9 and 10.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think you won 2 in a row, like 9 and 10.
Yes, I won 2 in a row at that time. But I'm not going to brag too much about it, because we're not going to mention what happened in the last 2 or 3 games.
But I think they did a great job. It's like, oh, okay, well, you really got kind of beat up last time.
Oh,
so here, we're going
time.
to, no, or you or me. And it's like, we're going to unlock this unit to maybe help you out. Or what happened to you was there was like a merging of 2 different troops, A and C, 2 different squads merging together. So a lot of your injured guys were replaced with non-injured guys, and you kind of got a little boost where I didn't get a chance to do that.
Right.
Of course, you kept forgetting that A and C was the same thing.
You kept whining about that for several games.
You're brutal.
But I got a chance to whine a little bit too. I will have to admit, though, I will have to give you plenty of credit that I had to have a little help. Probably with every game. I'd have to say now, I can remember what I can do with this action. You'd have to remind me.
Well, that's standard for any game, because there would be times. I remember I would look. It's like, oh my gosh, I hadn't played this particular tank in a while. It has this ability, or lots of times the upgrade cards will have abilities we've never seen before.
Upgrade cards, yeah.
I will say I kept having to find where in the rule book to find this stuff. I had actually told David before, I wish that they would come out with a 1-page sheet that both of us could have, that both players would have. I wish Osprey in the future would say, okay, here's a little cheat sheet for each of you, so you haven't got to flip through the rule book. That has all the actions listed, so it's a quick lookup chart.
Right.
That would be kind of nice to have. So anyway, the branching storylines was so cool, because by the end, I don't think I showed you, I actually have the book here. At the end, based on who won, you would go back to this chart and you would write down who won, and it would point you to the next path that you would take. Well, some of these would have like 7 branches coming into this one scenario. So it would be like, oh, okay, well, you just finished this particular scenario. Let's say, I'm randomly picking one, 143. Depending on who won, Soviet or German, it says, well, which scenario did you just come from? It could be either of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different ones. So there were 7 paths to get to 143. Then coming out of that, there were multiple paths going back out to other things. I can't imagine what those guys had to go through to come up.
I can't imagine what you had to go through to just. I left that part of it up to you, and then you waded through it pretty good, I thought.
I will say that of all the Undaunted games, there is a lot of bookkeeping that has to be done with this one, because at the end of every game, we just couldn't put it away, right?
That's pretty complex in itself.
It was. You had to go through your casualty phase. All right, any casualties that were lost, we have to replace those. Okay, now we got to go through the upgrade phase. Okay, any upgrades that were done, we got to mark those. Any tiles that were replaced. Now, I will say that the original insert for this game was really nice. Have you ways to section everything off. I'm going to mention something towards the end of this about a insert that I got from a company called Folded Space, which was licensed by Osprey to make their own insert. And you and I played it with the last couple games, and it made setup and managing a lot more of a breeze. So anyway, there's a lot more bookkeeping in this series of games, Undaunted games, than there is in previous. So if you're going to play this, be ready for that. There's a lot of time setting up. There's a lot of cleanup at the end, but the stuff in the middle is just really sweet. So what I was going to say was, if we were to play again, and you were to play as Russians and I was to play as a German, we would experience scenarios we didn't even see because we'd have different outcomes probably. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So it makes it, you could replay the game over and over again.
It makes it even more challenging. It was as if it wasn't challenging enough.
But what's cool is now that you've been introduced to this and you understand, okay, I understand what deck building is. You understood at the very beginning, all right, I got my baseline starting deck. I know that's this, and these 2 Fog of Wars that you kept complaining about. Having to go in your
If I had to make one suggestion, I would definitely have a way of eliminating the Fog of Wars.
You can. Remember, with the scouts, with the recon action.
That's not what I'm talking about. They need to be upgraded to maybe a foggy mist or something like that. Where you didn't get quite a hit on them. I mean, I ended up sometimes with 4 cards in my hands that I was supposed to have, and 3 of them would be Fog of Wars. I mean, you know, and you cannot play a Fog of War.
Oh, just for initiative of one.
Yes.
Of one.
If you want to give the initiative away, you can.
Okay, that was really interesting. I know this is in every Undaunted game, but I loved seeing the look on your face when you would go, before we had to bid on initiative, you're like, this is too hard. Because you're like faced with, I really want to go first, but the high-valued initiative card is the card I need to keep in my hand to play.
Exactly.
Because if it's used for initiative, you don't get to play it.
That decision gets to be pretty tough, especially when you know that you probably can win the game with this next play or the next 2 plays, and you have to lose the initiative at that point.
And I will say, it was rare for any scenario for either one of us to run away with it. It was always tight. I mean, I can't think of one to where, okay, you're obviously going to win or I'm obviously going to win. There was times to where it's like, if we'd had one more turn, I would have won, or vice versa.
I think that gives value to how the game was designed, because you being a professional as you are in this type of gaming and me being nothing but a total novice.
Did you hear that? Call me a professional, y'all.
You can play that back if you want.
I'll play that over and over again.
But, I mean, like I say, I came out of Monopoly and Bingo and those kind of things. Very little strategy involved. Well, Monopoly, you could get in some of it, but, you know, but very little strategy. And yet I was able to stay pretty close to you.
And I just want to say,
because of the way that the game is designed. So
yeah, a side note: nobody come on here and start commenting about the fact that Monopoly takes strategy. That's a whole separate conversation.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
anyway, no, it is brilliantly how the design. Let's use English this time. That was definitely a testament to how well this game was designed, because they kept it close, and if one won, you might give the edge to the other team.
Exactly.
Good. I seriously can't count the number of games to where, because of who went first, they won.
It was the roll of the dice or a draw of the card.
Yes, or the winning of the initiative. It's like,
that's true.
Of who won the game.
I think the last game, had I got the initiative, I could have won.
You did, and then when you showed me your cards at the end, you could have taken initiative, but you didn't play that card.
I felt bad for you.
Oh God!
You were whining so bad.
Y'all hear this? What abuse! My gosh! Oh, all right. So
but I'm glad you realized that.
Oh my gosh! Y'all see where I got it from, right? So, Undaunted Stalingrad. This has been an incredible experience playing with you. This has been a great memory for me to experience this with you.
I was going to mention that too. I didn't know where you'd edit it out at the end of it or not, but I would. Part of me looking forward to our game on Sundays was us playing together.
Yes.
You know, us doing something together and that kind of thing. I know we tried to build a model airplane one time, a remote controlled, and I was going to do it with Marty, with you, and I was one of these. Well, you can't do it this way. You got to do it this way. And I basically took it over, and I didn't mean to do that.
Well, I was pretty young at the time.
Well, you were, and I was wanting to get out there and get it flying.
Okay, you want to tell that little story? All right, so y'all, for months we put together this remote control.
Wrong door.
Yeah, we put together this remote control airplane that we've never had before. We've never flown a remote control airplane. Dad has a private pilot's license.
Yes,
He's like, I know how to fly a plane.
I figured if I could fly the real ones, hey, the remote control would be a piece of cake.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, let's just go out to the airfield. It was a back of a school. It was at a schoolyard. And you're like, I'm just going to taxi around. And then you're like, let's just see what happens if we take it off the ground.
On a windy day.
On a windy day. And once you finish and tell them what happens.
Well, I did get it off the ground, and I got it from one end of the field to the other end. Unfortunately, though, the wind was blowing, and there were trees at the other end. The wind was blowing toward the trees. And as I was trying to understand pulling a plane towards you and having to reverse the controls, as you saw the plane coming to you, somehow it got away from me, and the wind slapped it into the trees. So
and what happened?
We never did fly it again. It did considerable damage. I would say total.
We'll fix the plane. And so come to find out, there are trainer planes that might be better for learning how to.
And now there's electric, so you don't even have to worry about.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's true. That's a whole other thing to get into.
Plus, I had the biggest engine I could put on it.
Oh my gosh, y'all! He did. It's
like 60 Enya engine on it.
It's go big or go home is
That's
what you were thinking. Yes. Jeesh. Yeah. So anyway, it has been a great to sit here and play through this with you. And what's exciting is now in my car, I've got Battle of Britain that you and I can start playing.
Oh, okay.
It's not the legacy game. So when we're done, we just put it away. There's no casualties or anything like that. So it's going to be a lot quicker moving game.
Oh, okay.
But what I think you're going to like about it is that, number one, thematically, I think David and Trevor have done a good job. So, when you activate a unit in Undaunted Stalingrad, one of the options is to move. It's like, okay, I'm going to move this turn. When you play an aircraft card, the first thing you have to do, you have to move. We're not playing with helicopters. If you activate an airplane, it must move. And then you get to take possibly another action, maybe attack or maneuver, because when you move, you have to move in the direction the plane is going. Kind of makes sense, right? You didn't have that with this one. You could send a tank anywhere you wanted to, right? Here, you must move in the direction the plane is going. And you have to change its course. You can only turn it like 60 degrees to alter its course.
That could be a problem.
So tactically, I've only played this game once. You're going to have a ball with this because it's all about trying to get on the 6 of another plane so that you have a good shot at them. Because if you're on their tail, you get to roll more attack dice than you do if you're coming right toward them.
I can see
so
that.
They've done a really good job of mimicking dogfights. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that will be fun.
And somebody plays the Brits and somebody plays the Germans. And so you have the classic World War II planes out there too.
Spitfires against some Messerschmitts.
You got it. That's actually it.
Yeah.
There's anti-air that somebody may have that can shoot. There are aircraft carriers that are actually going to be in the water.
That'd
so
be interesting.
it's going to be really cool. Undaunted Stalingrad. You had a good time, I assume.
Oh yes, it was very. I've always been up for some challenges during my work career and hobbies and things like that. So I sort of go for challenges, but it was a very challenging game to some extent.
So by the end, you weren't too daunted by it.
Well, it got better.
Well, you were a trooper. I will say, you do like to take a lot of time thinking out your turn.
Yeah, I think, that's my strategy. I psyched you out. See, I could have really done it a lot quicker than that, but I thought if I got you good and frustrated.
There's a term for that. Have I told you what the term is?
No.
When somebody just can't decide what they want to do, it's called analysis paralysis.
Oh.
It's like they're just sitting there constantly analyzing, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I'm sitting there staring at him. It's like, and then it's his turn on to go, well, I got 3 fog awards. It's like, oh my gosh, it took you 5 minutes and you only got one card in your hand.
One card to play. Well, that's the way it is. But see, I had to, with each strategy, I had to relocate my, at each turn, I had to relocate where all my people were.
Yeah.
where all my tanks was and that kind of thing. And then I had to remember what all the commands was. So that takes some time, you know.
Sure. Well, you did a great job. The fact it was that close. I think in the end, we finished today.
Yes.
My gosh, that final battle's a beast.
Yes.
They do a great job. It's like, all right, y'all, the final battle, everybody's involved. It's a huge map. Go to town.
It was different.
And it ended up being a German minor victory. Is what
true.
it was. It was
That's
just a minor victory overall.
I believe we were 1 point apart.
We were. And I flipped a 2-point objective my way, and you lost it. But
and I lost the point.
That was what got the game. That was really good, too. Some of these other games from Undaunted, it was just about controlling certain tiles that had victory points on them. And if you got X amount of points, you'd win. Some of the scenarios had that. But some of them were a little more clever. I really like the ones, I don't want to spoil too much. It was almost like you got to get from one end of the map to the other, and the other team's trying to stop you from doing that.
Yes.
So there were some really cool ones. It wasn't just about controlling stuff. Right. It was about just trying to survive through a journey.
That's true.
Which was really cool.
But like I say, every objective was different for each battle, each scenario, and that made it interesting too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you thought, well, this is going to be a piece of cake. I'll win this in a heartbeat. But then you find out as you start playing the game, it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of where you think you've got the advantage. There's a lot of disadvantages in other ways, especially depending on whether you won or lost the last battle. So,
I will say, for anybody that's thinking about doing this, it was my game of the year last year. It's one of the best legacy campaign games I've ever played. It does take time. If you're going to get it, commit to playing all 15 scenarios to finish the game. They'll take 60 to 90 minutes per once you're set up.
I was thinking about an hour and a half average.
For us. But then you've got the stuff at the end to clean up. Give yourself 2 hours to get set up and put everything back away. So let me talk about real quick the folded space insert that we just got. So those were the little foam inserts that were put together.
That was better.
They were light. You had your own tray of tokens. I had my own tray of tokens. They had a really nice collection to hold all the cards. They were sorted by your deck, your lock deck, your reserve deck, and all that stuff. Right. Because the original tray, the tokens would slide, and there wasn't enough compartments
for all of them.
And here you can sort them all by type.
That was definitely an improvement. I mean, it just kept things a lot more orderly and neat, and having your own little package there together.
Yeah. So the folded space insert, y'all, highly recommend it. If you get the game, go ahead and order this. It will make setup and takedown a breeze. Really good job. It does support sleeved cards. There's enough room for all that too. Did sleeve the. Now I will say my dad, y'all. Oh, he's rough on some cards. Oh my gosh, he likes to flick the corners of cards, y'all.
Yeah, he got on me about 10 years ago about that, playing something, and then I began to try to back off a little bit, but he does watch me pretty closely now.
He likes warps cards. It's like and then you're trying to shuffle through them, and you're like, I said, what are you doing? Just move the card. You're rough. You're rough. All right. So that is Undaunted Stalingrad. Had a ball. If you like the Undaunted series and want a legacy style, I highly recommend this. Thank you for coming to do this. This wasn't too bad. I think you did a really good job. You were fretting about this for weeks.
Well, you can always edit it, you know.
Oh, no, there's hardly anything I'll have to edit at all. So you did a great job. So it sounds like you'll be ready to do a review with me for a Battle of Britain in the future,
maybe. You just never know.
Well, okay. Well, I got an idea. Next Sunday, your house, first scenario of Battle of Britain. How's that sound?
We can make that work.
All right, perfect. Let's get to it.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
Motor City, game designed by Adam Hill, Ben Pitchback, and Matt Riddle from 25th Century, and Motor City Gameworks is a new dice game, a new roll and write game that was kickstarted. Of course, it was a Pinchback Riddle. I jumped all over it. I had 3 sisters. I was going to complete out. I got Fleet the Dice game, Marty.
One sister.
I do. I only have 1 sister. That's true. But I have the roll and write.
But you have the roll and write 3 sisters. Gotcha.
3 sisters, yes. Yep. That which was all about plants. This is about cars. This is about manufacturing cars. It's a roll and write. So I'm going to keep it real simple. There's 3 phases. There's the planning phase, which is basically rolling dice and placing them on the blueprint board. Then there's the industry phase, which allows you to go collect the bonus under the dice when you draft a dice, where you then will mark that on your sheet. Once you do that, you take the action of the die if you want. You don't have to, because you can then upgrade somewhere on your sheet. There are upgrade capabilities that allow you to mark off more spots, or you can fill in the research area, which gives you an additional action if you've marked 4 of those off. And then you go to the audit phase, which is nothing more than seeing where you are on a score track, and you roll a red dice that blocks you being able to take an additional action later in the next round because they go on a coffee break. During the industry phase, you pick up the die. You take the bonus action on the board. You do the action on the die. And you then take that die and place it on your score sheet and do the action where you place the die. They don't have to match. Look for the combos, score the most victory points. That's this rolling right.
That is. So what makes this stand out from other ones? I do like the drafting. I like how they're laid out on the board. There's 3 different color dice that helps you place them on this board. So part of the strategy is, if I pick this one up, I can get that bonus action underneath it, which I'm going to do. Obviously, taking the action of the die, you'd have to learn what all the different actions do. But I like this other thing where you get to place it on any of the spots that aren't covered by the person taking a coffee break and take that additional action. So if it's like, I really want to take the racing action to move my car around the track, but there's none available, you could take any die and actually do that on your turn, assuming it's not blocked. I also like the idea of the selling action where you can earn cash and then sell cash in order to make future actions of a certain action stronger, being able to do it more often, like being able to push your car further along the track than what you normally could before you upgrade it. So those are the things that I kind of like, but like you said, everything else then at that point is most of these tracks allow you, once you get to a certain point, trigger something else, which might give you a bonus over here, over there. So those were the kind of things that stood out to me that made it different.
Now, there is another item on here that I know when we were playing it, you're like, I'm really not a fan of how this kind of works because we're not used to this. And these are called the hubs. There's the engineering hubs and the production hubs. When you mark those off, you don't necessarily get that action in the hub, like scoring additional points at the end of the game, or maybe increasing your speedometer, which is how you score victory points after each round. You actually have to collect items on your sheet to mark off in the hub. And once you've collected all that, then you may activate the hub. But you have to get to the hub first, collect the items to activate the hub. That takes a lot of planning. That's where this roll and write takes a lot of planning and strategy, and see where you want to go based on the dice that you're drafting.
So I ask you, as a person who backs everything from Pinchback and Riddle, how does this fare against the other roll and writes they've done?
In the McCree household with Don and I, Motor City would be number 1.
Wow. Already shot to number 1.
Number 1, Fleet, and then 3 Sisters. Those are the ones. Now, it's no stellar.
Well, that's not a roll and write. I'm just talking about just the roll and write games from them.
Yeah, I think what I like most about this one is at the end of each round where you're doing the speedometer scoring area. I like that. That puts a little tension in the game. You can't let someone else outrace you on that, or you will not win. I think that's important.
I think one of the things that got to me, and this is probably an issue with a lot of roll and writes, is I know you got to save paper and I know you got to save space, but some of the spots, you know, you're supposed to like circle when you get cash and then mark it when you've spent it. Like sometimes when I would circle the cash, I couldn't tell if I'd really circled it or not because it's like a dashed outline of a circle. And it's like, well, did I really circle? So I was having a problem with some of my spots and marking. And I had to be really careful to really intentionally mark something to see it or I would forget. So I know it's old eyes. I wish they were just a tad bigger, but it's nature of the beast.
I agree with you. We had a similar complaint about Orleans with the iconography on it. Needed to be a little larger. But you're right. I thought about that after you said it. I was like, all right, so we could fill in the sales mark and then put a big X through the sales circle. Yes.
Yeah, we should have done that. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I should have done was just fill it in, then X it out when it's used. That would have been a lot. Yeah. Yep. So problem solved, not an issue. Do it that way.
We'll do it that way. Test track, determining should we go clockwise or counterclockwise, depends on if you're NASCAR, which way you need to go. But
I don't know what does the formulas do? I guess are those road? What do they do in?
They're counterclockwise. Tracks. They're counterclockwise.
Okay.
Yeah, but on this game, you got to go clockwise because some of the big rewards are at the end of the track.
Oh, I wish you told me that before I went counterclockwise. No wonder I did so well. I'm kidding. I went the right way.
Oh, you didn't win. I know that.
It was a big I didn't win. So.
I know. So, and as far as, if you're locked out of a certain ones, you can always do the research action, which can lead to an additional action. So you have the big combos going on as well during this game. So, yes, Motor City for me, if we're going to play a roll and write like this, we're going to pull this one out before we pull out Three Sisters or Fleet. Not saying any of those are bad. It's just which ones we like.
And I can't wait to see what their next one's going to be, French Quarter. I'm very interested in that because I love the theme of the New Orleans. So, yeah, very nice.
And I also want to do a quick shout out to the graphic design on the cover by Mr. Kirkman, friend of ours. He made it look like a model box. Love that design. That was awesome. He did it. That was done on purpose, we found out. So,
very cool.
Once again, that's Motor City from Hill, Pinchback, and Riddle from 25th Century and Motor City Gameworks.
5-minute initiative is complete.
So now comes the topic that Marty pitched to me that we're going to be discussing. If we had to start our board game collection from scratch, what are the first 5 that you would buy now? Now, based on the fact that in this episode there are multiple people that have been doing reviews with Marty, I thought about, I could just read my 5 and step out. And then Marty could edit in his in between and talk about why his are on there. Hey, I could save a lot of time here, cut off the mic, and we're good here since he's obviously subbing in for me.
Oh,
and I appreciate that.
Look, we had to make some sort of content.
We could have left the show at 30 minutes.
That's fair.
I know. So, so since you did this, why don't you kick us off with your criteria for why these games would be? How did you come up with your 5? What's your criteria?
All right. So the idea was what happens if basically we gave away our entire collection. It's like, we're tired of board games. That's it. Over. Never going to play again. Donate, sold, they're all gone. And then the next week you go, crap. I wish I had not have done that. So now I want to go back and buy. What are the first 5 I would? My criteria was I tried to pick games to fill niches or wants and desires in different genres or different settings. For anything I could think of, I was trying to pick a game that would fit if I wanted to play this with this person. Sort of.
Okay.
Deal. That maybe has some longevity, some replayability, etc. So that was my criteria.
All right. And on my side, similar to yours, but I also was looking at where I am in my life, the stages of my life, where other than us Gaming Weekly, Donna is the person who I'm playing with. So I also added her in the mix. And matter of fact, I quizzed her on my list as well and said, of these, which one would you want me to buy?
Wow. Okay.
And I understand Vanessa doesn't play a lot, but that is something that Donna does enjoy, the fast playing games. But then I also look at, okay, but if I want to have the boys over, then what would I have on the table? Or I then said, well, Marty will have those. What if people who've never board game come over? Because I am older and I need to think about that. Prevagen.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So with that, are we going to do typical 5 to 1, or are we going? Or did you rank them like that?
I did not rank them at all. I didn't.
No rankums?
Nope.
All right.
I mean, they're not in any particular order of which I would buy first. It's just 5.
Yes. And did you get my note about you? I added one to you.
Like a runner-up?
Not a runner-up. One that didn't make the list that you are surprised that didn't make the list.
Yeah, but I guess I would consider that a runner-up. One that got pushed out, but I thought would have been on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I got one.
Right.
I got one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So tell me one. Which one?
All right. So I'm going to start out with very obvious ones. The first one is because I have gotten so many hours out of this game over the past 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I go back and buy the base set of the Arkham card game again.
Okay.
Because I can play it by myself. I can play it with multiple people. It has a lot of replayability. I love the theme. It's not very expensive. It gives me my card game. It gives me some deck building. And I would just kind of start in again from there. But I got to have that base set to start out. 100%, that would be on the list that I would go out and buy to fill my need for a cooperative card game.
Okay. Plus, it's solo capable.
It is, yes.
So you could always do that in case, you suddenly retire and your buddy at work's no longer playing. You now have a see, I'm thinking about future here.
I totally get that. Yes.
For me, one of the games that I would go out and get again would be Ticket to Ride plus the Switzerland expansion because, one, the family loves it. Everybody knows how to play it. And it is one that the 2-player map is incredible. And I just think it's one that always needs to be on the shelf because as Rebecca begins her life, who knows where her family goes, and I know in a couple of years, I can give that game off to her, or something that I will be able to play in my years of dementia as far as with her kids someday.
That's a good call. So where I drop the ball is on having an accessible game for people who don't play a lot of card games or board games. So I've that's going to be a hole in my list.
Okay.
Because my second one, this is where Vanessa comes into play, because she and I have many memories and many hours of love of Arkham Horror, the board game. Yes, 2 Arkham Horror games, but this is one that's a longer game that she will sit down and play, and she really enjoys. And she knows it's a long game, but we know that we can sit down, start playing it, stop, come back to it, etc. So a lot of great memories with that one, and being able to sit and play with her is always a fun experience. So Arkham Horror, the board game.
Yeah, you do have that theme of Arkham Horror, don't you?
But that's it. But that's it. Yeah, I'm done with it. I got those 2 out of the way because I've talked about those a lot on this podcast. So those are gone. But that does fill I love card games, so I had to get a card game. And then it's co-op, which is cool. And then something with Vanessa that I know she really enjoys.
All right. So I will follow up something that I know Donna really enjoys and gives us our 2-player. And that, of course, is Carcassonne.
Gotcha. Yep.
So
classic. So Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne's in there. Nice.
The classics are the best. I mean, everything that keeps coming out, I'm sorry. You look at some of them and you think, okay, well, what's another good tile laying game? Well, there's a lot of them out there, but if I show her all the tile laying games, she goes, well, I want to play Carcassonne. And someday I'll use an expansion. But right now, just the base Carcassonne, she's very happy with. And it's a game that we get to the table on a Friday afternoon after work. And we play it almost every week now. So,
wow.
And I still suck. I still suck at it. I'm not good. But that's okay. I'm fine with that. But yes.
Yeah, that's okay. You are fine with that. I hear that.
I am okay with that, and I will never stop saying that. I don't care what you say. I'm good with that.
Okay. So when it does come to having other people around, I figured I needed a party-style game that could support a lot of people for the holidays. And dude, there have been so many good party games.
Amazing.
I mean, this is where I'm looking at all these things like Just One that I really, really like. And we've been playing a lot of So Clover. And I'm like, which one will I pick? Like you, I kind of went back to a classic, a game that will support a lot of people. It's kind of co-op-y, but also a little competitive. Very easy to learn, a lot of replayability. That's Codenames.
Of course.
Again, a class I probably haven't played in a while, but it's one of those things that if it was the only thing on my shelf and it was the holidays, I had friends over, family, easily pull it out, get it on the table and play it, and people still love it. I still love it. I love when you and I go on to Tim's Twitch channel and do the Codenames night, which is still a lot of fun too. So it works well with just 4 people with 2 on each team, up to 8, 9 people 10 people if you want an even number. But yeah, it scales very well.
So I'm going to follow you up. So I too also put a party game on there, but the one that you didn't put on there, Just One.
Nice. So this is where we can share.
And I picked Just One because I find that in Codenames, well, like you said, it is truly a great game that I find it to be more AP.
Okay.
Analysis paralysis with some people, especially someone in my house at times. And they'll come, what word? And then they say one and things like that. And sometimes it loses. And some people don't engage. Where Just One, everybody is always engaging. So that is why the Blob Party game, I think I sold 3 copies at the wedding.
Wow.
And it's not even, I was telling people about it at the wedding the whole freaking time. And I haven't even played it yet. And they said, well, what game are you excited about? And I said, well, Marty was telling me about this. And it sounds incredible. I'm ready to just go get Play-Doh and make up my own cards.
It is a solid game. All right. So we have 2 left, right? For each.
2 left.
Okay. So now the last 2 are more for the guys getting together. This was the hard one because, geez, we have so many good Euro games and stuff. So I'm trying to think, what is something that can give me a lot of replayability with a mechanic that I really enjoy? One mechanic I love. Well, number one, I love card games. That's been set. I love engine building.
Mm-hmm.
And I love games with replayability where every time I play, maybe I can play with different factions or something like that to give a different feel. Which is why I picked Imperial Settlers as a game to put on my list. Because, one, I know it's a game that you enjoy, our friends enjoy. It does have that really good deck building mechanic, but you can play with the different faction every time and it'll feel a little bit different. I was torn between actually this and 51st State.
Yes.
I love the win condition in 51st State of a race to, a point value. I think that tension is great, but I picked Imperial because of the different factions and how unique they are.
I can see that, and I can see where the dilemma is, especially, Imperial factions is
Imperial
so
faction.
strong.
Imperial
Factions. Sorry. Yes. Imperial Settlers. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so solid when it comes to the different factions. And if you get good at them, one stand out, definitely.
I almost went with Empires of the North, which is very similar, which is also very good. But I said, I'll just stay with the classic and go from there.
Classic for me that plays with a lot of people, fast playing, and that easy to explain, and that I will always love, Seven Wonders.
Oh, that's a good one. Your list is better than mine.
No, it's not.
That is good. No, here's the thing. I went downstairs and looked at all my collection, and Seven Wonders didn't even stick out. That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
And I'll admit the rebirth of it recently with, playing it with the new expansion and then with them re-releasing it and then getting it on the table. Some people were just like, I'd really enjoyed playing that, and just having to be able to sit down there. It's very quick for me to explain some of the challenges. Just something about Seven Wonders, and it plays up to 7,
Right.
So that one is my fourth one on my list. And I was looking at some of the Imperial Settlers, the Empires of the North, those games is Hiroshima. I was like, well, but I need something that supports a lot of people,
Right.
more than 4.
Right.
And that's why I went with that.
Hiroshima, I eyed a lot because it's still an amazing 2-player game, but it's not one that Vanessa will play. So only work with like you or somebody else. And that's why I didn't make the list. So for my last one, again, I realized, I looked around, it's like, wow, I don't have that classic Euro. I don't have the resource management game. And I wanted something like that in the list. And this is where I was really struggling because I was looking through so many things that I really like and enjoy. I probably narrowed it down to this one because of nostalgia and nostalgia only. And I know there's probably games that are, mechanically people like better now because it's so old, but Puerto Rico will always have a soft spot in my heart because it is one of the first really thinky Euro games that we played. And it gives me a lot of there's a little bit of tile laying. There's definitely resource management. Downtime is very low. There's a little bit of tableau building and stuff like that with the where you place your buildings and everything. So I'm happy with the Puerto Rico choice because I think it's one of those things. I'm thinking who I play with, you and the other guys and stuff. I'm like, I know that they would like it. And would it get old after a while? I'm not sure. But a lot of it has to do with nostalgia only. So I want to refill that Euro gap with the thing that started out the whole Euro thing for me, which is Puerto Rico.
Yeah, no, completely agree with you there. Because I was sitting there debating with my number, not number one, but the last one on my list, which you know what it is. I need a worker placement game, a real simple worker placement game. And that, of course, is going to be Pillars of the Earth. It's easy to teach. The game is always tight. It's very simple for me to explain how the worker placement mechanic is, and it's just one of my favorite games to play. It's just so good every time I play it, and even though I've played it so much, I don't feel like I will always completely destroy someone who hasn't. Where you have that feeling. Some people say that about Terraforming Mars, and the people that know the cards really play well. Here, I don't think that is because there is enough randomness that it cannot make you have to do the same strategy every freaking game. So my last one on my list is Pillars of the Earth.
Well, between our 10, that's a pretty good collection of games.
That is. It hits all the niches.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't have a worker placement, and I was staring actually downstairs at Lords of Waterdeep for quite a while.
I thought that maybe that would be there, yeah.
because I have taught my family that game and they picked up on it pretty quick. So for non-gamers, they actually could get into it. But I pushed it out because I wanted something. I didn't have anything really meaty Euro-wise. So I wanted Puerto Rico, which takes me to when you said, all right, what's the game? I'm surprised it's not on the list. Knee-jerk reaction, if you'd have asked me, I would have for sure put Terra Mystica on here. Mm-hmm. After really processing everything and realizing, man, that it takes a while to set up. It takes a while to play. You have to reteach the game sometimes when you sit down and play it. I left it off. But that's one that I would have thought, if you just would have said, spit out 5 games as fast as you can, Terra Mystica probably would have been in there. But after some processing, I actually eliminated it.
Okay. And mine is Pandemic.
Okay.
And I was like, the reason why it's not on the list is I don't know, after doing it, I want to play it. And that's where we are with this game. I mean, it's a fabulous game. It's amazing. I have probably played that game more than any other game. And I have all the expansions, and it will never leave my collection unless I sell off my collection, of course. But it is one that I think it'll take it a while. We need to wait. We're not ready to rip the Band-Aid off yet. We're ready to just let it sit on the shelf, and maybe later when memories have passed, it'll come back out, or I'll grab one of the legacies and do that. And also, it doesn't help that our neighbors next to us don't really do board games. And so that was one that was easy to get people involved in, and we just don't have that anymore.
I'm surprised that Robinson Crusoe was on your list. It's a co-op tough game.
That is our game. That is a game that you and I would play, but because it's not one, like I said, I put into it as I thought forward, what games with Donna, games that she was willing to play. And we all know how she feels about Robinson.
Yeah.
Go back and listen.
It's a lot. That's the way a lot of people feel about Robinson.
The game's just brutal.
It's just brutal.
I love the game. If she loved the game, yes, it would have been on there. But unfortunately, it's hard.
Yep.
And not all games can be easy.
So here's the thing. Y'all come out to our Discord channel. What are 5 games that if you had to start from scratch, what would your 5 games that you would pick to repurchase to start your collection again? Let us know. These kinds of things are a lot of fun to talk about. If I was to score my list and Tony's list, Tony, I'd actually give you a higher grade than me. I really do. What? I think, no, I'm serious. I think if people would say, whose 5 games would you rather have in your collection? Yours hits a greater swath of people than what mine does. And so I think Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride,
7 Wonders.
I think Pillars is the one that may be an outlier because a lot of people might not have played it. But you got the really popular ones in there. 7 Wonders, yeah. I mean, those 3 right there are just really classic games.
Or smash them up. Smash up our 5 and say, this is the list y'all should have come up with. Y'all are complete idiots.
Yeah.
She settled down already. Oh, now here goes the other one. You remember those days when you had 2 dogs, but one would start and the other one would just join right
Well,
in.
no, Zeke never barked.
Oh, okay. Well, Zeke was a good dog. He was a really good dog.
He's dead now. All right, so that was our list of 5. He is.
Yeah, he is.
He is. He's gone. So again, in our Discord channel, what's your 5? Let us know. We just talked about the 5 games that we would rebuy. Well, it just so happens, Tony, that one of the games that I would rebuy is a daily deal right now on Miniature Market.
Which one's that?
Arkham Horror, the card game core set that's regularly $44.95 is on sale for $12.
Really?
Yes. So if it's like, okay, I want to rebuy it. Oh, look, it happens to be the daily deal for only $12. I can get one of my 5 games. That's the thing about Miniature Market, y'all. There's daily deals all the time, and the only way you'll know about them is you got to go out to the site to see them. In fact, people on our Discord channel are constantly like, hey, did you see this daily deal? Did you see this daily deal? And people are going out and picking up stuff. So I think that's just really ironic that the day that we record this, one of my 5 games happens to be on sale over there for $12. But not only that, they've got tons of sales going on, and you're going to want to keep an eye out for all the new games that are going to be coming out. Pre-orders are going up for a lot of the games from Gen Con. So to find out more, head over to miniaturemarket.com. it's no surprise for y'all that have listened to us know that Arkham Horror the card game is one of my favorite games. However, Tony is not a fan of this game at all. So you may be wondering, well, Marty, how do you get this game played? Well, I am very fortunate to have a friend and co-worker who has also invested hundreds of dollars probably into Arkham Horror, the card game, and he's the one I get to play with and have been for many years. So Keegan, thank you for coming on and covering this Fortune and Folly scenario pack with me.
Hey, happy to be here, Marty. Thanks.
I think before we started, we said we've been playing together like 5 years.
Yeah, it's just about right. 5 years ago, I think.
How many campaigns have we actually played through together? 4? Maybe?
4 or 5, yeah. 4 or 5, yeah.
Exactly. So we were getting ready to kick off and get into Scarlet Keys. And we just got the brand new scenario pack from Fantasy Flight called Fortune and Folly. And these are, if you don't know, these are one-off scenarios. That it's not a long campaign. You sit down, you kind of play in one sitting, and you're done. So have you experienced a lot of the other scenario packs?
Yeah, I've done a few of them. I think I've done the one that's in Louisiana, like what the Curse of
the first one.
I think that's the pronunciation. And and a few of the others, like the Carnival ones and the hotel one, the murder mystery. But this one was brand new, and I think they can fit into any campaign if you want to like put them as a side quest option as well.
Right. Oh, that's true. It does give you that option. Instead of me explaining what the theme is, let me just read what's off the front of the book here, because to me, this is Ocean's 11 in Arkham Horror Universe.
Absolutely.
So here it is. A casino in Monte Carlo is using probability manipulating powers to accumulate wealth at the cost of endangering the populace. 1 to 4 investigators, you can play solo with this, must plan and execute a daring heist in order to capture the source of this cult's power and put a stop to the nefarious work. But will their meddling turn fortune in their favor, or will luck run out? Yeah, it is 100% Ocean's 11.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I couldn't think of any other heist film it would match more perfectly than Ocean's 11.
Because it's actually broken up into 2 parts, which is kind of different for these scenarios. The first half of the scenario is basically, all right, imagine, I think it was Danny Ocean was his name, gets together with a crew of people, and they said, look, we're going to go into a casino, we're going to do a heist, but first we need to go and case out the joint. We need to go check out surveillance cameras. We need to see how security's handled, how money's moved through the places. Maybe we can try to grab some keys, maybe grab some uniforms to disguise ourselves. We're literally doing that in the first half of this game.
Yes, that's right. It's a lot of, like I said, it's just a setup where if you try to put out your weapons, you try to put out all your gear to play the game, you're going to mess up big because what you're trying to do is set up for the heist itself, not your actual character.
So there's actually a checklist of things that you're trying to do in that first half before you, air quote, resign, which means, okay, time is running out. We need to get out of here. Let's just grab what we can, and we'll come back for the heist later. But while you're in the casino, and I think this is really cool, is that you can actually you can go up to some of the locations like the poker table or is it Baccarat?
Yeah, Baccarat, yeah.
Baccarat table, and actually play a game. And the games are played through the scenario cards that they give you, because in the upper left-hand corner of the scenario card are actually the 4 suits of a 52 suit deck plus their value. 52 suit deck, 52 card deck, the 4 suits. And when you come up to a location, you can actually try to play a game in order to win something. So, for example, at the Baccarat table, you can discard the top 2 cards in the encounter deck, check their game icons, meaning that's their suit and value. If the combined value of their ranks is higher than 18, then the player wins. If it's lower, then the banker wins. So there's these risk-reward things that you can do at each of the tables to try to help you out, which is really unique.
Yeah, I love that. And you have to do this. Like you can't ignore it in the game. And I remember we were just like digging through the encounter deck all the time, trying to count cards and figure out what our best odds were. And that just adds a really unique flavor to the scenario.
Because it actually tells you what the values of the cards are in the deck, and you can kind of figure it out. But what's interesting is, as the game goes on, more cards are added to the deck that will actually make it harder for you to pass. Like this one's looking for an 18. What they do with later cards in the deck, they add lower values of the cards into the stack, to making it less chance of you getting that 18.
Yeah, absolutely. It completely changed the probability on it. It's almost like a little mini encounter bag, where they're swapping out tokens on you, but this is all through the encounter deck.
So one thing I've liked about these scenarios is a really cool thing that makes it feel unique and different. So those early ones, like you had mentioned, the Curse of Ragaruru And the carousel, not the carousel, the carnival, the carnival. They kind of were all right, this is kind of like intro scenarios. They weren't very different. But now that we've come out things like the Murder Mystery Hotel, which was cool, the scenario where you can travel back and forth between two different times, which is cool. And now this one just feels totally unique with this heist theme. It's not about beating up people or fighting and stuff. It's literally going around and stealthily trying to collect those items you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like it's a completely different feel from any of the campaigns, really. And like I say, if you approach this as a normal Arkham Horror scenario, you're not going to fare real well. You have to come kind of a completely different approach for it.
And so once you do the first half of the game, then the second half is basically the heist itself. And I'm trying to speak without giving too many spoilers away. I will just say that depending on how well you did in the first half with that little checklist of items, will determine what kind of benefits you get in the second half of the game. The more that you completed, the easier it'll be for you to complete the heist in the second half of the game, which we did not complete.
We did not complete. I felt like we did a lot of check boxes, but we didn't do them very well, did we?
No, we didn't. And it's really interesting that you said that one thing you like about these scenarios is that as we get ready to start the Scarlet Keys campaign, is that this is a good way to test decks.
Absolutely.
So we both play and we go, maybe I'll tweak this. Or maybe it's not that. It's like, oh, I see how this deck should be played now that I've played it, and maybe tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, a few misplays of the deck will teach you a lot about what your deck's going to do. So that's great for this scenario.
Yeah, exactly. So we've already decided, well, we definitely want to play this again. And I do like that you can, after the getting the information before the heist, it does in the book tell you how to save the state of the game. So you totally could save it and come back and play it later. So I will say that this scenario is probably longer than probably the other scenarios because it is 2 parts.
Yeah. I played a scenario and a half length if we're counting a scenario, a typical scenario.
Especially since the second half is kind of resetting the board. So you're having to do a couple setups over the course of the game.
Right.
I really, really liked it. I liked the fact that you were playing these gambling games, which made it feel like you were in, where were we again? Monte Carlo. Yeah. So it had that good gambling feel to it.
Yeah. The theme was fantastic, and the mechanic kind of forces you down a path that you're not typically taking in Arkham Horror, which is a blast. And I think you could fit it into any, or I should say any campaign thematically, but you could definitely fit it into something like, I'm thinking like the Path of Carcosa, and obviously Scarlet Keys is what it's designed for. So you could fit it into already pre-made campaigns if you wanted. If
you're a fan of Arkham Horror, the card game, there are very few scenarios I will say you shouldn't pick up because I think most of them are good. However, I think this is one you should definitely add to your collection because it is so unique in what it does. I mean, like you said, Keegan, you're not just going in there. You are discovering clues, but you're not going out there brandishing weapons and taking people out because actually that's a bad thing.
Absolutely.
In the first half of the game, you're trying to keep suspicion low, which is actually part of the game. Is trying to keep you're trying to be stealthy, so you don't want to raise too much suspicion upon yourself because the more that you gather, there's actually you're actually tracking your suspicion level, and the higher it goes, the more likely somebody's going to, what's that guy doing over there, and catch you doing something. So anyway, yeah, very unique. Seriously, you play it, you'll feel like you're Danny Ocean and his crew going into the casino, getting ready to set up a big heist. However, we didn't, but I am anxious to sit down and try it again, tweak our deck. Oh, I will say, we did come in with basically the level 0 or experience 0 decks, which probably made this harder.
Yeah, that is. You do want to add a few higher level weapons or objects to your decks before you jump into any of these because you're looking at like -5 tokens and stuff. So
that's right. Oh my gosh, the -5. How many times literally it was like the only one that can hurt me is the -5 in the autofill. Oh, -5. There it is.
Yeah, it happened more times than seemed fair.
That's Arkham Horror.
That's Arkham Horror for you.
All right. Well, thanks coming on for doing this with me.
It's my pleasure.
And who knows, maybe after the Scarlet Keys campaign, we can do a big follow-up on that. They haven't announced what's coming after that. I would assume pretty soon they'll announce the next.
You always hope, right? I'm excited about whatever it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it still tends to sell pretty well, so I would expect to hear something maybe the second half of the year, beginning of 2024.
Looking forward to it.
Fortune Folly out now for the Arkham Horror, the card game. We give it a thumbs up, and if you try it, let us know what you think.
So over at shopportalgamesus.com, I subscribe to their newsletter. I know you do too, Marty. And
I do.
That's right. And I received a very special email about a new army coming to Hiroshima Hex. And that is the Merchants Guild, designed by Joanna Kajanka. And this faction has a new element that's going to do something with the discard token.
Oh.
I know. It's so straight from the email. If you get the email, you can read it yourself. But it's a new way of looking at the token draw. From now on, instead of choosing the worst chip to discard, the player must decide which chip will allow him the best to make use of a unique currency called Gamble. This is going to release, of course, on the day of the Moloch, September 5th, 2023. And if you want to learn more, you click on a button in the email and it takes you straight there to where Ignacy is talking about the brand new army. And you can read all about that. So be sure to go over to shopportalgamesus.com, sign up for their newsletter for those great announcements that come from the store, as well as you can also read some of the postings, some of the new information that Ignacy has out there on his various game designs, what's coming in store for Portal Games. That's shopportalgames.com.
And another one of my 5 games from my list is on here on sale. Imperial Settlers is on sale for $31. So see, I can rebuy my 5 dirt cheap.
And I screwed up on the name a couple of times in this ad. It's shopportalgames.com. He's got me so structured to shopportalgamesus.com, or US was in one of the other URLs. So ignore all that. Just go with shopportalgames.com.
Shopportalgames.com. Got it. All right, Tony, I saw you got a key for a Switch game, Bobble? Is this the classic game? What is this you got to play?
No, this is not the classic game, but it is one of my favorite types of games like Tetris. This is called Puzzle Bobble Everybubble. I will not say that fast.
That's tough. Yep.
That is a tough game, but it is. So you remember those games kind of like where you would bounce the balls off the side and try to connect 3 and blow stuff up, or connect multiples to try to clear the board,
yes,
along those lines.
Yeah.
That's what this game is.
Okay.
You are trying to go out and clear the board for various and release people that are trapped in bubbles in this Bubble Bobble world.
Mm-hmm.
In doing so, you go up to the next level. If you clear so many levels at so many rankings, you open up these hidden levels. But basically, it is a puzzle game along those lines of Tetris. Certain bubbles do special things, like do major explosions. I don't know why these games speak to me as much as they do. Tetris does not.
Okay.
But this bouncing stuff around and connecting them and trying to shoot these little balls in the gap so that I feel a lot of accomplishment when I just make that gap and it goes up and connects to all these others, and it makes all the other bubbles fall down and explode. And I do it in a timely manner so that I get the bonuses. And these are all timed games. You can't sit there and strategize a long time. You've got to get it done in a minute or less, depending on how quickly it's going. And I'm stuck right now. I cannot complete a level.
Is this the type of game where levels added and it keeps pushing down?
No levels are added, but it keeps dropping.
Well, that's okay. But so it does keep dropping. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I've played, there's been a lot of popular games that kind of fit that. Like you said, you got to match 3 for them to drop off. And if you can complete a chain where you knock off a whole big section that's hanging on by the, 3 that you hit, same sort of deal.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And some of them are like, you got to be able to hit around these blocks, but they don't disappear. So you got to do this ricochet stuff. I sucked at pool, so this ricocheting doesn't work well for me. But that's where I'm at. I'm in the one where it's just like, oh, son of a gun. If I screwed up, game over. Okay, do it again. See if I can get better. And I'm not better, noob. I'm stuck in a level. I hope to clear it here. I've lost practice because this is one of those things I think goes with the muscle memory on these games.
Okay.
Where you can quickly go through and shift the bubbles and swap things out. A lot of neat things are in these that I've never seen in these type of busting games before. So I can't wait to see more of that. I don't know. I haven't done the multiplayer because it's just been me.
Is it co-op multiplayer or head-to-head?
I think it's both.
Okay. Man, maybe I should pick up a copy that we could do co-op. That'd be fun.
Yes. But to be honest, I haven't explored it. I've only done the single player, and
Okay.
I'm only in the second island. I've played, close to 25 games of it before the wedding kicked in, and it's one of those things where usually I don't take my Switch with me when I travel.
Sure.
Okay, because it's just big and bulky and things like that. But this game, I decided to take my Switch, which is unusual.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that I ordered a Satisfy Slim case.
Nice.
So I don't have look, this key made me spend $45.
Those slim cases are nice. I've got one of those too. Have you got it yet?
Yeah, it's sitting here. I just got to
Yep.
pack it up with the various cartridges that I have in my old big one. Now I don't know what to do with the big one. I may just give it to Rebecca, but she has the OLED one, so I don't think it works. She would have to order a grip.
Yeah, no, the grip will not work. The new grips that they come out with work with both, but the older grip will not work with the OLED.
Since I didn't order a new grip, just the case, it's no big deal. So she could order the grip if she really wanted one. But we'll see if she does. I don't know.
Yeah.
I may put it on Discord and say, here's a Satisfy case you want. But we're talking about the video game. There's not a whole lot. I mean, it's a fun, mind-numbing game if you enjoy that type of puzzle.
I do. So I need to check it out because I assume it uses the same characters from Bobble, the one that we played in college.
I just know there's 4 different colored little dinosaurs.
Okay, but it's the
And
same
they're
guys
friends.
with the little point on their head.
Yes, but the points have nothing because they're doing the machine.
Got it.
Sending
All right.
bubbles up.
All right, so it's still in that universe. Okay, well, I need to check that out. It is a huge month for video games. As of today, the reviews for Street Fighter 6 came out with a 92. Diablo 4, which comes out 1st of June, has sitting there at a 90. And of course, you just had the Tears of the Kingdom, which has got big reviews. And then Final Fantasy 16 is crazy. So my sons are like, this is right before Street Fighter 6 releases. Travis is taking a day off. And basically, they're going to spend 3 days playing Street Fighter 6. And then next week, when Diablo 4 comes out, I'll be playing that. And I think we're going to have a guild on our Discord channel. I have an RDT in guild for Diablo. That'll be fun to get together and play some multiplayer and stuff like that. So crazy good time for games. 2023 has been amazing for video games that's come out.
Like I said, I'm so busy playing Guild Wars 2 that I haven't even looked at Street Fighter 6. What more can you do?
It adds an entire single player component to where you don't necessarily have to play against other people. It's almost like a fighting RPG where you create a character, you fight, you get experience points, you unlock new abilities, and basically almost like a Pokemon where you go around and fight different trainers and stuff like that and try to beat them and build up your skill.
I'm interested. Seriously, I'm interested. I'm more interested in that than having to go Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, no, I see that because I have no interest in in fighting games because I stink at them. But when they started talking about the single player component, I went, wait a minute, that's kind of cool. And you can get power ups and stuff. Like if you're low on health, you can drink a drink when you're fighting against a boss or something like that. Oh, this is kind of interesting. You can go into the arcade area of your city, and they have all these classic Capcom Street Fighter games, and you can sit down and play the old Street Fighter games in this game.
Wow. Okay. I'll be watching this, and maybe if it ever, because these games are hit or miss on going on sale. This might be a Christmas wish list thing.
Diablo 4 doesn't interest you?
Not in the least.
Not ever. Okay. I thought you played a lot of Diablo 3 on the Switch, or
I did, and I forgot just how boring those games are to me. Of what do you call them? Hack and slash?
Hack and slash, yeah.
I mean, I remember playing the original, and I enjoyed the crafting and trying to get all the gems and that kind of stuff. Well, I think it was Diablo 2 that we played.
Yeah.
And I had some ice wizard or something, and I enjoyed it because I beat the game. But then when I played 3, it was like, okay, I'm just running around these mazes and I'm killing stuff, and okay, then I don't know. I finished it, but that was about it. I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I think so. I'm getting Diablo on the PC, but if I was to get Street Fighter, I may pick it up on the PlayStation.
Oh, it's on the play. I may have to go to the PlayStation now.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about picking up a special controller fight stick where it has the 6 buttons, like this classic Street Fighter game with 6 buttons on there.
Uh-huh.
And so it replaces the regular PlayStation 4 buttons on the right with the 6 button layout.
Could you see you and I playing Street Fighter 6 on the PlayStation?
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Definitely want to clip and share that. That'd be hilarious. I'd be on one side. I couldn't get off a wall. You'd be somewhere else punching, and we can't ever meet each other. It'd be great. I don't know what I'm doing.
And if it was 2v2, could you imagine us, you and me, going against your sons? It'd be like over in 10 seconds.
That's like Smash. I couldn't imagine going to Smash. I played Smash against the boys. That was ridiculous. I got laid out so many times.
Dad, you might want to block that. Dad?
Yeah.
Dad?
Do you know B's block, right? Or whatever block is. Like, shut up. I'm just going to drink my drink while y'all finish the game. One other thing is we talked earlier about Games Workshop and their miniature stuff coming out. So one thing that they announced I'm really excited about is a new game based in the Age of Sigmar universe, which is their fantasy, called Realms of Ruin. This is basically a company trying to relaunch an RTS. A real-time strategy game that we have not seen in forever. It's coming this fall. They said if you like RTS games, you'll want to keep an eye on this. It's the classic build up a force, you gather resources, you go up a tech tree, you go fight. I've always loved RTSs. That genre has been dead for too long, and I would love to see somebody come back with it and reboot that thing. Because I like you, both of us spent many hours in a lot of different RTSs many years ago.
We had a Warhammer RTS, didn't we? A couple of them.
We had Warcraft 3.
I thought I'd have to go check my Steam account and see what game I haven't downloaded in a while. I could have sworn I had a Warhammer type game like that.
Maybe so, because there have been a lot of things that's come out. But I mean, because you and I used to play Company of Heroes, we played Warcraft 3, we played StarCraft, we played Age of Empires. I mean, we were in a lot of those different types of games that were all RTSs.
Oh, Warhammer. I don't know what Dawn of War is. That's the one I'm thinking of.
That's the 40K RT. No, you're right. That's it.
Yeah, my friends who I've played with previously, I've got Wolfpack EE who I've played with, and the guy, Redline, whatever I remember him, and Kidney Stoned.
Oh, yeah, that's guys I used to work with. No, you're right. That is, Dawn of War came out in 2004. So, see, that was right in the height of RTSs.
Okay.
So, it was their version.
Something.
Yeah, we did play that. That was good. Okay. I think I like StarCraft more. Yeah, we played a lot of RTS. So, I would love to see somebody come out with a really good RTS game and see that genre get reboosted and play again. So, I'm going to keep my eye on that coming out later this fall. That's Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, Realms of Ruin.
Wow, I'm sitting here looking at my Steam library.
How many unplayeds do you have on there?
Well, not downloaded.
Oh, yeah.
Well, played, I mean, there's Half-Life. Oh, so much fun playing Half-Life back in the day. That was so much fun. Magicka, Star Wars, Knights of the Orcs Must Die. That was a RTS. No, that was a tower defense.
That was a tower defense. Yes, first-person tower defense style game that was really cool.
Yeah, Defense Grid was a tower defense.
Yeah.
Of course, Company of Heroes is on here. Age of Empires. My God, Torchlight and Torchlight 2.
Well, there's your hack and slash.
There's my hack and slash. Mm-hmm. And I think, that was one of the ones that I started, after I was playing that for a while, I started to wane off of it. It was like, yeah. So anyway, well, with that, I'm going to go play some Guild Wars.
And take some names. Hey y'all, thanks for listening. Don't forget we're giving away a copy of Motor City. To enter, just join our Discord channel. And we don't have a lot of tickets left for our strike event at Gen Con, so jump on it now over at buymeamoonpie.com.
Hey man, when you bought that extra space, how did you pay for it? Credit card, check, cashier's check? How did you do it?
Credit card?
Okay, you can still cancel it. I can still get out of this 10-year thing. So go ahead, cancel it.
Nope, you're in for another 10 years and 300 episodes. Enjoy.